Okay, current blood sugar is at 9. Had a little bit of lows before lunch, but had a big meal, so I'm sitting up at 9. This is normal. I'm at 5.550 units of insulin, fully calibrated. Green arrow, I haven't pointed that out for a while. Carb, sorry, bolus rate was shut off pretty much all in the morning, but started up after lunch when I started to go up, and I took some carbs. Actually, I had 2 hamburgers, and salad, but cut out the soup. Time in range is at 83%. 10% above, much better. 83 below, or 7% at 3.9. This and this are down, which means this looks better of being at 6.5. All in all, a pretty good day. Today, it's time for story time, episode 10, when I tried to burn down my building. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Okay, so how did I come to almost burn down the building? And what does this have to do with Mike's Diabetes World? Well, I was home. It was late one evening, and all of a sudden I realized I hadn't eaten. I hadn't had dinner. It was probably around 7:45, 8 o'clock. So I put on some potatoes. It wasn't the greatest diabetic meal, but I knew things were heading downward. I didn't know how quickly they were heading downward, but I knew they were heading downward. I was doing that. I was getting back into my chair, and all of a sudden my service dog came down, kind of was butting his nose like, hey, I need to go out. And perfectly fine. I thought, well, I'll just let the potatoes come to boil. We won't be gone that long. So I hooked him up. We went downstairs. We went out. We went for a quick walk, which was probably more than longer than I thought about it. Came back. The halls smelled like smoke up on my floor. This head wasn't thinking anything about it. But, as it's getting down to my apartment, it's getting stronger. And I go in, and the pot with the potatoes in it was on the stove still, and it had boiled dry. So I immediately let Nico off, and I opened up the lid, and all of a sudden bells and whistles started going. I put them in the pot, turned the pot on, and turned the water on in the pot. Steam evaporated. The fire alarm started to ring. So I knew, still not comprehending that I had started this. We went downstairs using the one thing that you're told not to do in a fire, but used the elevator, got down, got Nico out, and then I was kind of over to one side when a police officer, I remember him, an RCMP officer, because we were in Burnaby, which doesn't have its own police force, and he's questioning me quite a bit. And he said, well, you're kind of slurring your speech a little. Is there a medical problem? I said, well, yeah, I'm a diabetic, but I'm fine. They said, well, let's just get you checked out. So he got me checked out, and EMS came, and EMS did a blood sugar on me, and my blood sugar came out at 2.1, I think it was. So I was low. I probably hadn't eaten all day, but I was low. So they said, I think we better go to the hospital. Didn't want to live with what was going to go on in the apartment after. I said, oh, okay. So myself and my service dog were loaded up into the ambulance, and I was taken off to the hospital. While I was at the hospital, I can remember I was sitting in a wheelchair with my service dog, and a doctor came up and said, well, why are you here? We'll take a look at your blood sugars. Well, by that time, the ambulance drivers had put an IV in my arm. My blood sugars were okay. It was, I think, 5.7 or something, so they were happy. Said, oh, I think you could probably go. And then I told them the story. And he said, well, maybe we should have someone look at you. So I was taken upstairs. I was admitted, and someone came to get Nico. And friends of mine went to my apartment, opened up all the windows, and let the place air out for 4 days. It stunk like smoke, like burning smoke. And they cleaned up the stove, they did everything. So I guess that's sort of my first time of realizing, hey, maybe I can't live alone. I had a pump. Where's my pump here? There's my pump. I had a pump, but sometimes not understanding what the pump said. Now, we've told the story of when I ended up in the hospital for a year, This was a little bit later. It was a scary time for most people. It was a good thing that it was something simple, but you know, no damage, no sprinklers went on, nothing to the point. So, pretty happy for that. Could have been a hell of a lot worse. And I think because I'm hypoglycemic unaware, that I don't know what's going on, especially when I'm low, that I can become very stubborn. And sometimes maybe just a tad little detrimental to my own care. So, with that, I was released from hospital, came home. I really started ordering in meals. I would order in a pizza at the beginning of the week, a large or extra large pizza, and I would eat it throughout the week so that I would always have food and I wouldn't drop down. I started ordering Amazon Chef Boyardee or easy meals like that where I really, this is going to be cringe to some people, where I wouldn't even cook. I just eat it cold. It was quick. I could open it up, eat it, quick wash the dishes, or my home health care could help washing the dishes. But, you know, my actions could have really caused injury to other people. And you have to think about that. And the time to think about it is when you're alert. What happens if something like that happens? Do you have someone who will speak for you? I'm lucky. I am so very lucky that I have two excellent power of attorneys, and we're basically about my care on the same page. We are not differentiating. It's not like, oh, well, he has millions. Let's try to kill him off. Or they haven't admitted to it yet. Let's put it that way. But it's amazing how your actions could, in to respect others, if it wasn't for the fire alarm system that we sit through every year, we used to sit through and get the testing done. And it would ring constantly for uh, 4 times a year. When we first moved in, it was 4 times a year. It got scaled back to twice a year. But there are stories of people not cleaning their lint traps and their dryers overheating, causing sparks. And our building was about 20 years old. We had lived there for most of our life, 30 years actually. 97, I think we were, or 90, because we moved in 92. We were the second owners, and we had lived there till 2023. So, during that time, I would have never sort of opened my mind up to being, oh, you can't live alone. Now I can pretty well say, yeah, okay, I agree with it. And henceforth, it could lead to one of the reasons why I'm in long term care. Doesn't mean that every diabetic, when they get older, would have to live in long term care. It was just that was the best situation for me at the time. And with that, that's story time 10 over and done with. Have a great day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye now. My email address is Mike's Diabetes World at gmail.com. All one line. Drop me